What's up, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to the Big Fight Field channel where we speak the truth, we're honest, we give our takes on the Miami Dolphins. And I'm feeling good this week, so I decided to go ahead and stop here on a Friday night and do the preview for the Miami Dolphins taking on the Las Vegas Raiders. Haven't done a preview since the Arizona Cardinals game, the week that Tua came back. Didn't do a preview for the Bills game or the Rams game just because I felt like there was no point to it at all. The Dolphins sucked at that point in the season. And in my honest opinion, I still think we suck. 3-6, it's been a miserable season, but hey, after the win on Monday night against the Rams, there's a little bit of maybe the vibes are changing. I don't know, but every game here on out, it's win or go home basically for the Miami Dolphins. You win, you stay alive another week. You lose one game, and you're done for the season. The season will be over. So this is big. This is for sure a big week for the Miami Dolphins. They're taking on the Las Vegas Raiders, the 2-7 Las Vegas Raiders, but it's still going to be a tough game. And if you go back to last year's matchup, the Dolphins were 6-3, the Raiders were 5-5. They were on a 3-game winning streak with Antonio Pierce being the new interim head coach. That game was a grind. That game came down to a game-winning interception by Jalen Ramsey, and the Dolphins won that game 20-13. And this Dolphins team that the Raiders are going to be playing this year are worse. And this Raiders team that the Dolphins are going to be playing on Sunday is way worse than they were last year. I'm not scared of the Raiders outside of Max Crosby. Max Crosby is a big threat. We will get more into that. But I appreciate you all joining me here tonight. It is going to be a big weekend, man. I'm recording this on Friday night. Tonight is obviously the Jake Paul Mike Tyson fight from AT&T Stadium. It's a big deal. 65,000 people at AT&T Stadium. I think that the fight's going to come down to a decision. I don't know who the judges are going to award the fight to, but you look at the age difference. Jake Paul is 27 years old. Mike Tyson is 58 years old. That's very, very lopsided. So that's tonight. And then tomorrow is college football. You get Tennessee and Georgia tomorrow night. That should be a good game. Georgia is favored by 9.5. Coming off of last week, their offense has absolutely no identity to them. So I think it's going to be a low-scoring game, and I think Tennessee is going to be able to keep that game close. And then on Sunday, you get an entire day of NFL football. The Dolphins are on at 1 o'clock. The Chiefs play the Bills this weekend. The 9-0 Chiefs versus the 8-2 Bills. And as much as we hate the Buffalo Bills, the Bills find a way. Excuse me. The Bills find a way to beat the Chiefs in the regular season. And last year, they beat them in Kansas City to basically keep their season alive. And this year, they're playing them in Buffalo. And I think if there's ever a week that Kansas City is going to lose, it's going to be this week against the Bills, because after this week, you look at Kansas City's schedule, they have an absolute cakewalk. They play Carolina Las Vegas on Black Friday, the Chargers, the Browns, Houston, Pittsburgh, and the Denver Broncos. So, outside of this game on Sunday against the Buffalo Bills, the biggest threat to Kansas City is probably the Pittsburgh Steelers when you really think about it. So, um, if if the Chiefs win this weekend, realistically, they might not lose until Christmas Day against the Pittsburgh Steelers. So that is going to be a great game. That should be a great game. So it's going to be a wonderful weekend of sports. So, um, but for here, we will be covering the Dolphins and the Raiders. Of course, we will be here right after that game concludes. Hopefully, it's another Miami Dolphins W, and we're talking about a win and the Dolphins being 4-6. So, really quickly, after the win on Monday, we get momentum. I'm hearing a lot of chatter that the Dolphins need to go out there on Sunday and they need to dominate the Raiders. They need to destroy the Raiders. The Raiders suck, and I understand that, but we stink too. And I think our expectations are really high. I don't know why. We have a ton of injuries. They do as well, but man, I think the expectations are too high. For a team, if this team was 5-4 or 6-3, I'd be like, okay. They should go out there and they should dominate the Las Vegas Raiders. But here's the thing. The 2024 Miami Dolphins, they go out there and they blow games. They lose leads. They don't come through at the end. And that's just been who they are this entire year. And if the offense is doing great, the defense is having an off day. And if the defense is having an off day, the offense is doing great. So they can never put a full game together. You look at the game against Arizona, the offense scored 27 points. They made a lot of mistakes, though, in that game. The offense scored 27 points. The defense gave up 21 points in the second half, and they lost by 1. You look at the game against the Bills, the offense probably had as perfect of a game as you can imagine. 27 points again, but they were sharp the entire game, outside of a Raheem Mostert fumble. So they play a damn near perfect game on offense, and on defense, they give up 30 points. Now this week, against the Rams, yes, they won 23-15, but the offense is shaky. The offense was okay. The defense was excellent. So it's very inconsistent with the Miami Dolphins. And honestly, even though we're playing the Raiders, I don't know what we're gonna get out of this team on Sunday. And I did say that they were dealing with a lot of injuries. Let's go over the injury report really quickly. Kendall Fuller is out for a concussion this week. There's no timetable on his return this upcoming week. The Dolphins have 5 players questionable. Teron Armstead, wrist/knee injury, is questionable. He did not practice all week. I doubt he plays on Sunday. Alec Ingold, calf injury. Mike McDaniel says he's better this week than he was last week. He's questionable. Robert Jones is questionable. Patrick McMorris is questionable. And for the first time all season, Isaiah Wynn has practiced this week. And he was limited all 3 days, but he's questionable going into Sunday's game. I highly doubt he plays. He is just coming off IR. and he has not played in over a year. Um, it would be shocking if he's able to play. Robert Jones is questionable, but it sounds like he's going to be able to go. But for Wynn, I feel like we need to get a full week of full practices before we get him back on the field. We have 21 days to activate him off IR, but I don't think he's going to play this week against the Las Vegas Raiders. I just think it's too soon. I think my safe bet would be he plays Thanksgiving night. He plays Thanksgiving night in Lambeau Field against the Green Bay Packers. That's when I think you will see Isaiah Wynn back on the field. For the Las Vegas Raiders, they have 4 players out and 1 player questionable. Cornerback Nate Hobbs is out with an ankle injury. Center Andre James is out with an ankle injury. Guard Cody Whitehair is out with an ankle injury. Tight end Harrison Bryant is out. And tight end Michael Mayer is questionable. So the Raiders, especially on that offensive line, they are banged up. Now, we're going to talk about the Raiders' offense first against the Dolphins' defense. But I'm not going to sit here and I'm not going to give you keys because this should be, you should take care of business this week. The Raiders, they don't have a threat on offense outside of Brock Bowers. They went into this season with Devontae Adams. He played 2 games for them. He played 2 games for the Raiders all year. That's it. He got traded to the Jets, and that's the last you see of Devontae Adams in Las Vegas. They went into the offseason. They had a game plan in the offseason thinking they could run the ball with Zamir White. That blew up in their face. They got Alexander Madison as their starting running back. They got Jacoby Myers as their wide receiver 1. Gardner Minshew is having a bad year. He's proven this year that he is a system quarterback. I thought he was decent when he was in Philadelphia with Jalen Hurts. He was good last year in Indianapolis under Shane Steichen. But this year with the Raiders, trash. Now, it could be his weapons. His weapons are terrible outside of Brock Bowers. But Gardner Minshew, he loves throwing interceptions. And Gardner Minshew has had success in his career, but he is really struggling this season. But for all the fans, for all the Dolphin fans that are going into this game saying we should blow out the Las Vegas Raiders, I just want to tell you something. This year, this is not a guarantee. This year, the Raiders went into Baltimore and won. Straight up. They beat Baltimore in Baltimore. Baltimore is one of the best teams in the AFC. And then in week 8, they played the undefeated Kansas City Chiefs, and they lost by a touchdown. That's it. They lost by a touchdown in that game. Gardner Minshew was 24 of 30, 209 yards, and 2 touchdowns. Gardner Minshew played a very good game against Kansas City in week 8. So, the Raiders' offense is obviously not good, but what I will say is they can't overlook them. They can't overlook this offense, even though they have a banged-up offensive line. They're going to be playing a rookie at center. Jackson Powers-Johnson, more than likely, is going to be their center. So I expect Zach Sealer and Calais Campbell to have a big game. I expect Chop Robinson to be in the backfield a lot. Um, I expect those guys to be able to get pressure to the Vegas Raiders. And you look at the Las Vegas Raiders running game, they are 32nd in the NFL. They average 77 rushing yards a game. So I expect um the Dolphins defense to be able to stop the run, and what I would do is I would game plan for the defensive side. I would game plan for Brock Bowers. How are you going to be able to stop Brock Bowers? Are you going to double team him? I think more than likely they're probably just going to put Jordan Brooks on Brock Bowers. Jordan Brooks is a pretty damn good tackler, but they could do it. They could come up with a game plan where, hey, we got to contain Brock Bowers. Let's double team him, and then let's force Gardner Minshew to beat us with his wide receivers in man coverage. Let's just go with man coverage, and let's see if Gardner Minshew can beat us with his wide receivers. Jacoby Myers, Trey Tucker. Who else do they have? Jacoby Myers, Trey Tucker, DJ Turner. Let's see if those guys can beat this. Because I'm telling you right now, they can't. And if they do, this defense, this secondary, is really overrated. There was a scare that Jalen Ramsey wasn't going to play in this game. Jalen Ramsey's playing. So we're going to have Jalen Ramsey, Kader Kohu, and I would guess Cam Smith is going to be the other corner. Cam Smith, I feel like he struggled a lot. He struggled against Arizona, and he struggled against Buffalo. I think this is the perfect matchup to ease Cam Smith into this defense while Kendall Fuller is out with a concussion. And I wouldn't expect him to play next week either, because this is his second concussion that he's dealt with this season. So I think against the Raiders, it's good for Cam Smith to get these reps, and I think this is going to be a good matchup for him. I wouldn't even be shocked if he got an interception. I mean, maybe I would, but I think that this is going to be a game where the Raiders' offense is terrible. They're not good. They stink. They barely score. I mean, they do score. They put up 24 against Cincinnati. A lot of that was in garbage time. 20 against Kansas City. 15 against the Rams. 13 against the Steelers. 18 against Denver. 20 against the Browns. Those were their recent games. Excuse me. Excuse me. So yeah, I'm not really threatened by the Las Vegas Raiders offense at all. The one person that I am threatened with on the Las Vegas Raiders, though, is Max Crosby. Max Crosby is an absolute animal. He has 6.5 sacks this season, and when we played the Raiders last year, we were able to contain Max Crosby pretty well. And I don't think he got a sack at all against Tua Tagovailoa. But for this year, it's a little different. Austin Jackson's not in there. Kendall Lamb is the starting right tackle. Teron Armstead is probably not going to play in this game. I highly doubt I would be shocked after a full week of did not practices that Teron Armstead is going to step out on the field and play against the Raiders. So you're looking at Patrick Paul and Kendall Lamb as your two tackles against Max Crosby. I would be worried. I think that could be where the offense stalls out, the offense struggles. The Raiders' defense is not terrible. I would say they're in the middle of the pack. Spillane's a good linebacker. Jack Jones is a good corner. But I'm worried about Max Crosby going up against our tackles. And people are like, this is going to be the game Tyreek goes off and Waddle gets his yardage. This is going to be Tyreek's big game. And I want that for him. But how could we do that with if Tua has no time because they can't protect this defensive line? They can't protect Max Crosby. That's what I'm worried about. So I think, and plus their passing defense is 11th. So I think this needs to be a game where Mike McDaniel leans on running the football with Devon Achane and Jalen Wright and Raheem Mostert if he gets touches. The defense is not bad in Las Vegas, but their run defense is 22nd. They allow 130 rushing yards a game. I would expect I would expect, hopefully, I mean, I don't expect a lot out of McDaniel. It's hard to expect things out of him. I would hope McDaniel runs the ball a lot. I think he had in the Buffalo, was it the Buffalo game or the Arizona game? I can't remember, but it was in the Buffalo game. Okay. So in the Buffalo game, he had a really nice balance. He had 30 they ran 31 times and they threw the ball 28. I want something like that where we're not throwing all the time, because I think, without two tackles out, Max Crosby is going to be able to demolish. He's going to be able to eat. He's going to be able to sack Tua Tagovailoa as much as he wants. So, I am a little bit worried for the offense against the Raiders' defense. I can't lie. But I think this game, kind of like last year, is going to be a race to 20, and the Dolphins should be able to get there first. So as long as they do, they're going to win this game. And as long as they're not doing the dumb mistakes like they were in Arizona and in Indianapolis and the defense in Buffalo, they should win this game. They should win this game against the Las Vegas Raiders. They need this game against the Las Vegas Raiders. They need every game here on out. So I am getting out of here. I will see you guys Sunday for the post-game recap video for the Miami Dolphins versus the Las Vegas Raiders. Have a good night. Subscribe to the Big Fight Fuel channel. Hit the like button if you liked what you heard from me. Comment down below your thoughts on the game on Sunday. Follow me on Twitter, Colin_Joseph. I will be live tweeting in the second half. I'm not tweeting during these games anymore. I didn't tweet during the Rams game, only in the second half, and they won. So that's how it's gonna go. But I'm out. I will see you guys Sunday. Have a good night. Stay safe. And as always, let's go Dolphins.